Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another Tales from the Crypt episode review. Let's get started. Today's episode will be Blind Alleys. We're almost done. I'm almost done with this series. I got a few more to do, and it's going to be the end of it. I've enjoyed making this series, Tales from the Crypt. EC is a passion of mine, and especially the movies and the TV series, they're definitely passions of mine too. That's how I got into collecting comics and so forth. But anyway, on to Blind Alleys. The gist of the Blind Alleys story, and once again, you have the original source material, which I'll show you in a moment, and what was put on the silver screen. Both are very similar. The movies did a wonderful job at keeping the source material pretty accurate. Of course, there are some liberties that are taken. I'm okay with that. It turned out pretty good. But anyway, in Blind Alleys, there's a new administrator that takes over a home for the blind. And he doesn't treat the people in there very well. He treats them as second-class citizens. He doesn't allow them to have seconds when it comes to dinner. Turns off the heat at a certain time, and it causes a lot of problems for the people, and he is just very insensitive to their needs as blind people. So anyway, what happens is they all decide to take revenge on him in a very, very unique way by putting him into an environment where he can't see. He has to try to rely on his other senses because his one sense, the one sense that he takes for granted, his vision, is no longer going to help him. So that's pretty much the gist of it. It's it's one of those episodes where you want to see something bad happen to the guy at the end. You see, with the movies, they tended to give all of the protagonists a sinister edge, whereas in the original source material, not all of them, some of them were, but not all of them had a sinister edge. Some of them were just good people that bad things happened to. But in the case of Blind Alleys, both in the original source material and in the movie, the guy was pretty bad. The new administrator was bad. So anyway, let's take a look at the book. Blind Alleys is the second story in Tales from the Crypt number 46. I have probably a very good copy. It's got some issues, but it's still a beautiful copy nonetheless. We're going to take a look inside this book so you can see the artwork. And then you'll see clips, most of the clips from the episode, so you could enjoy Blind Alleys the way it was originally presented and what came out on the screen. Before we do that, just last thing about this. This is actually the last issue of Tales from the Crypt. I'm sorry you're getting a little bit of glare here. This is the last issue, so sometimes it's a little harder to get because it said it's scarce. I don't know how scarce it is. I never bothered to look at the numbers and all that stuff, but it's still a pretty awesome book to have in your EC collection. Classic werewolf cover. And on top of that, has Blind Alleys in it. So please stay tuned. Take a look. Enjoy me for an inside look at the book, the artwork, and then join me again for a recap of the actual episode. Take care, everyone. All right. Let's get a close look at Blind Alleys. Sorry for a little bit of the glare. The desk isn't really that long, so I have very limited room, and I have the light beaming down on it, causing this glare, so sorry about that. Pretty cool cover. Last issue of Tales from the Crypt, everyone. There's the in memoriam. Talks about how how they had to give up, they gave up with the horror titles because of all the controversy that was going on because of the seduction of the innocent, the trials, and all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We'll get all the way to Blind Alleys. Blind Alleys is the second story in this. Not that I want to skip through all the awesome art, but, I want to try to get to the subject at hand for today's episode. What was it? I think there was... Where was it? We got Blind Alleys right here, but... never mind. Here we are. The Vault of Horror Blind Alleys. Here we go. There's the artist, Evans. Oh, Johnny Craig always drew the Vault Keeper, but This is what the blind people had to go through. Rodents. The loss of one sense only tends to sharpen the others, as the actor says in the movie. They could touch the sticky, filmy cobwebs. They could smell the foul odors of mildew. They could hear the rats scampering. And there's the administrator, Gunner. Basically, he's living the high life while they're all suffering, living in filth, living in uncertainty. There he is, drinking champagne, his feet up. Oh, that's an interesting scene. To keep cool. And the gunner bought a dog for protection, as it says right here. Oof. He would walk around with it to make sure none of the blind people got any funny ideas. And he would push people down and treat everyone like crap. So this guy's not a very nice man. And neither was his portrayal. He wasn't portrayed as a very nice man in the movie. Well, he didn't do stuff like this, like take the banister away and try to trick people and watch them fall down the stairs because he knew he couldn't see. It wasn't that cruel in the movie. Actually, he was a little nicer than that. But this guy's a real dick. I've actually forgot about some of this. They would want to see him in his office. He'd have a bucket of water over them. But the blind somehow take the doggy away from Gunner one evening by luring him away with food and then locking him in a cell. And the dog's name is Brutus. And then the blind finally confront him. He doesn't have the dog to protect him. And he's wondering, what'd you do with my dog? And there he is, and he hears the dog. He's actually next door to the cell that he was locked into. And he hears the dog barking and wailing. And then the blind lock them, they're both locked in there, and then the blind get to work. Not bad. For not being able to see, they sure do a lot. As you'll see. Story's over. There we go. He's wondering, what are they up to? What are they making? Feed Brutus, you fools. He'll get wild if you don't. He'll be dangerous. We know, Mr. Grunwald. That doesn't sound too good. And you can see the wall that separates the two. And then one day, the door opens. And as he's walking through the maze that they built, he takes a close look at the boards and notices that there are razor blades on them. And this guy he thinks, if I'll just take my time, I'll get through this. Those razor blades are not going to cut me. But then a sound comes behind him. And it's the dog. The dog, now mad with hunger, is released and is now chasing his master. And as he runs to try to get away, there's the dog looking quite sinister. The lights go out. And that, my friends, is Blind Alleys. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the clips from the film.
always like that, huh? Yes?
The men have asked me to come and talk to you.
Yes?
It's about the heating. It's been very cold this past few nights. We wondered if you...
For reasons of economy, the heating is now turned off each evening at 2000 hours. You'll all be in bed by then. After all, there's no point in staying up. You can't see anything.
The beds are cold. There aren't enough blankets.
I'm trying to run this place as efficiently and as economically as I can. I'm afraid the current budget does not include the cost of new blankets.
Do you know anything about blind people?
No, I can't say I do until I took over this job. But I was in the army for over 20 years, and I learned to handle all kinds of men there.
With all due respect, sir, we are not soldiers. And blind people are not like people with sight. We have lost one sense, but the loss of that one sense only tends to sharpen the other. Do you know what that means? We feel things more acutely. If food is bad, it tastes worse to us. If a room is dirty, we feel every speck. If an insect scurries across the floor, we hear it. And if it's cold, we feel the cold more. Why don't you sell that painting and buy us fuel or extra blankets?
I was not aware that the administration of expenditure for this establishment had been handed over to you, Mr. Carter. Good morning.
Sorry, Dad, there ain't no more.
No second helping?
Well, rations were cut, you see. Superintendent says he's doing the best he can with prices so high.
It's customary to knock on the door of a private office. What do you want? Can't you see I'm having my lunch?
What is it? Nice juicy steak? Or we get nothing but slop.
Well, I do the best I can for you within the limits of the budget provided for me.
But you eat meat and drink wine?
I am the officer in charge.
This isn't the bloody army.
Mr. Carter, in the kingdom of the blind, even the one-eyed man is king.
Doctor.
Do you realize it's gone midnight? Doctor. Who wants a doctor?
It's Greenwood, sir.
Well, can't it wait till the morning?
He's ill, sir. Very ill.
Well, I suppose I better take a look. Shane, wait. Blanket. Which one is Greenwood? man is dead.
Very well.
Shane? 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 What the hell do you think you're doing? Go back to your rooms, all of you.
It's our turn to give the orders now. Major Rogers, sir.
Well, what is it? What do you want? Let me out of here! Let me out! Shane. Shane. All right, boys. All right. What are you, my dog? What are you doing with my dog?
Your dog seems to be getting hungry, Major Rogers.
Oh, feed him, please. Please feed him.
All in good time.
But you must feed him. He'll be dangerous. He'll go wild, berserk.
I know, Major Rogers.